In our own backyard, some say a Bigfoot is living in the forest above Marysville.
John Iander says a local couple has found big prints in those woods, and some experts say this may not be a hoax.
It was just after a rainstorm, a great time for hunting deer, and this was the perfect place, high up in the dense woods of the Plumas National Forest. Chuck and Michelle Pettigo had been down this logging road lots of times, including just a couple of days earlier. Past two gates, about 3 miles from the highway, in a recently logged area, Michelle looked down and spotted something very strange.
And she says, "What kind of tracks are these?" So I look at them. No.
What the Pettigos say they encountered was more than 36 huge footprints spread out over 100 yards or more.
And I swear the hair on my arm stood up.
Michelle, were you scared?
No, not scared, just excited.
The couple recorded their discovery with photographs, then returned to take more pictures.
This is the stride in between the steps.
The Pettigos called in Scott Woodland, a Nevada County Search and Rescue Team member and a certified expert tracker.
The closer I got and looked at the prints, the more I could see the detail in the movement from the foot. As a tracker, you begin to understand and see how things move and the weight and all that stuff, and the depth and the complexity of the footprint made me just go, whoa.
What really impressed Scott, though, was the force of the Bigfoot print. It rippled the ground around it. That is Scott's footprint next to it, and he hardly displaced the soil.
If it's a hoax, somebody really did a good job. And if it's not, then there's a big creature that lives amongst us.
All the prints appear to be from one animal walking slowly, but with a stride twice that of a human.
We measured from heel of left foot to heel of left foot, 56 inches. That's 17.5 inches.
In Humboldt County, in the tiny town of Willow Creek, there's a Bigfoot museum run by Al Hodgson. Decades ago, Al had a similar experience when he found what he believed were the footprints of a mother and child Bigfoot.
Here's the two I saw. This one's here, and there's a smaller one here. But those two, and there was miles of tracks. It wasn't just one or two tracks. It was miles of them.
Ever since this scratchy film of an alleged Bigfoot spotting was taken in 1963, a growing amount of potential evidence has been reported. From this distant picture of a possible Bigfoot to these plaster impressions of some very big feet. Compare these with the plaster cast Chuck Pettigo made. Same shape, same size, almost square toes with little or no arching. You know, if there is a Bigfoot living up here in the woods, it wouldn't be the first time that somebody has reported the evidence. I've checked the records over the last decade. In both 1997 and 98, a science researcher found possible Bigfoot tracks and feces in the same Plumas Forest area. And again in 1998, a veteran Forest Service employee found footprints 14 inches long by 6 inches wide. We checked with residents of the small towns near where Michelle and Chuck found their footprints. Store owner Peggy Pope says she's a believer.
I've never heard of anybody up here saying they've ever seen one.
Or any evidence?
Or any evidence, but I believe there is such a thing, yes.
So it wasn't a carcass. Other locals say they have either heard or smelled what might be a Bigfoot, but they also tell of some mighty big bears living in these woods. But these pictures of bear paws, while certainly very large, clearly show big claws. The footprints Chuck and Michelle found show no sign of any claws, just clean imprints of 5 toes. The Pettigos found these footprints 4 months ago and did not publicize it until now. They do not seem to seek notoriety and appear to be genuinely and deeply affected by the incident. But still, I had to ask the question.
You're not playing a hoax on us?
No, sir. I wouldn't do that.
Why not?
I'm not that smart. I couldn't make something like that. I've been out in the woods my whole life, and I've never seen anything like this.
Well, photos and measurements of those Bigfoot prints have been sent to a scientist researching Bigfoot sightings.
There is no word yet on whether he thinks those prints are made by man or a lot bigger, more secretive creatures.
And Dave and I were saying, first when you walk into the woods and you hear that music, you know that
There's
there's
gotta be a
something
Bigfoot
afoot,
there.
you know?